Engines don't just roar anymore, they hum, they whine, they sound like power tools from outer space. Picture this, late night in Munich, big auto show lights turned down a notch, crowd buzzing. And then a red motorcycle rolls quietly onto the stage, no exhaust note, no heat shimmer from pipes, just an electric race bike with a battery pack that, if it works the way they say it does, could rewrite the rules for every EV on the road. That bike was a Ducati V21L, and inside it was something we've been hearing about for years but almost never seeing in the real world, a solid-state battery. You're in the garage. I'm in your ears. This is Haunted Throttle Night Shift. Tune in while you tune up. So here's what actually happened minus the press release glitter. Ducati has been building an electric race bike called the V21L for the Moto series. It's already stupid fast, around 150 horsepower and roughly 170 miles an hour flat out, all without a drop of gas. But for this show in Munich, Volkswagen Group, Ducati's parent company, decided to do something a little wild. Instead of the normal lithium-ion pack, they gutted the battery and rebuilt it around solid-state cells from QuantumScape, working with VW's battery arm PowerCo and with Audi engineers. So this isn't a sticker package. This is a full science project heart transplant. They rolled that thing out at IAA Mobility and said, "This is the first vehicle in the Volkswagen Group actually moving on a solid-state battery. Not a car. Not a bus. A motorcycle. And yeah, it only rode a few feet on stage. But if you're into EVs, that tiny slow roll might be one of the loudest burnouts of the decade. What's so special about solid state anyway? Let's hit the basics without going full chemistry class. Your typical electric bike or car uses lithium-ion cells with a liquid electrolyte sloshing around inside. It works, but it comes with baggage. Limited energy density. Heat management issues. Risk of thermal runaway if something goes really wrong. Solid-state batteries swap that gooey liquid layer for a solid ceramic separator and a different internal layout. In this Ducati prototype, they're using solid-state lithium metal cells with that solid separator sandwiched inside. Here's what that gets you on paper. Higher energy density. This pack hits about 844 watt-hours per liter, which is a big jump over today's typical EV cells. Faster charging, roughly 12 minutes to go from 10% to 80% on this race bike pack. Better life cycle and safety. Solid separators are more resistant to those nasty dendrites that can grow in conventional cells, and they handle heat in a different way. Ducati's own numbers say just switching the V21L over to these new cells knocked over 8 kilos, about 18 pounds, out of the battery pack compared to the old setup. If you're not a track nerd, here's what that means in plain rider language. Lighter bike. More range for the same size pack. And charging stops that feel more like a bathroom break than a lunch break. On a racetrack, that's lap time. On the street, that's I'm not stuck at a charger forever. Reality check, are we all getting solid-state bikes next year? Short answer, nope. The V21L with solid-state cells is being very clearly labeled as a tech demonstrator. It's designed to beat the living daylights out of that battery on the track long before anybody bolts this stuff into a street-legal multistrada and sends it to your dealer. QuantumScape and VW have already said the bigger picture is cars first. PowerCo wants to fold this into their unified cell concept and scale it to car packs. Moto and this Ducati are basically the rolling torture tests so they can prove the tech under race conditions. Even QuantumScape's own leadership is being careful. They're talking about several years before commercial solid-state packs show up in real production vehicles you and I can buy. This demo was more like, look, it actually works outside the lab. So don't expect the next model year spec sheet to suddenly say solid-state battery, 500-mile range, 5-minute charge on your local dealership's website. But this does answer a big question a lot of us had. Is solid-state real, or is it vaporware? And the answer, now, is, it's real enough to survive on a Ducati race bike. That's a lot more interesting than another PowerPoint. What does any of this mean for a regular rider? Let's zoom out of the trade show stage and back into your garage. If you're already skeptical about electric motorcycles, your reasons are probably not enough range. Charging is a pain. Bikes get heavy with big battery packs. Solid state hits all three of those pain points. 1. Range. More energy in the same volume means you can either go farther on the same sized pack, or shrink the pack and keep the same range. For sport bikes, that could mean real deal track day stamina without massive bricks in the frame. 2. Charging time. 12 minutes to go from 10 to 80% doesn't magically exist at every gas station. You still need the right charger, but it pushes EVs closer to the mental model riders already have. I pull in, I take a break, I get back on the road. Done. 3. Weight and handling. Dropping 8 kilos out of a race battery is not just a spec sheet flex. That's quicker direction changes, better braking, less tire abuse. If that translates to street bikes, an electric sport machine starts feeling less like a heavy experiment and more like, well, a Ducati. There's another angle here too, battery life. If these packs really do last more cycles with less degradation, that could be the difference between this used electric bike as a ticking time bomb and yeah, I'll buy that 5-year-old electric Ducati without sweating the battery. How this might actually roll out. Here's my best guess timeline, reading between the lines. Now 2027, Ducati and QuantumScape punish this thing on the track. Lots of data, lots of tweaks. You might see more demo laps, more engineering speak interviews, but no real street bike yet. Late decade, Volkswagen sneaks the tech into some limited run car or high-end EV first. Bikes stay as halo projects and rolling testbeds. After that, once cost, mass production, and reliability are sorted, you start seeing solid state inside become a selling point for top-shelf electric motorcycles. Ducati, maybe BMW, maybe KTM or Honda if their own projects are far enough along. The cool part is that they chose a motorcycle to show this off. They could have just as easily shoved it into a concept SUV and parked it under some blue lights. Instead, they said, no, let's put it in the motobike and make it earn its stripes at 170 miles an hour. That says something about where they think performance EV bragging rights are going to live. Clutch out. So, what we've got here isn't go buy this bike tomorrow. It's more like someone tore the corner off the future and let us peek under it for a second. A Ducati race bike with a solid-state battery developed with QuantumScape and VW's PowerCo. Around 844 watt-hours per liter energy density. About 12-minute 1080% fast charging. And a lighter, harder working pack that's about 8 kilos down from the original. Rolling under its own power on a public stage, headed for the racetrack as a real testbed instead of a static concept. The question isn't will electric bikes exist? That ship has sailed. The question now is how good they can get once this kind of battery tech makes it into the wild. So let me throw it to you. If an electric Ducati could charge in about the time it takes you to grab a burger and hit the restroom, and still rip like a proper sport bike, would you ride one? Or are you staying with pistons until the bitter end? Drop it in the comments. I'm just the voice in your garage. This has been Haunted Throttle Night Shift. Tune in while you tune up.